invest more in transport sector. Mr. Chairman, for these are just pictures. You can see, you can view how he's doing. This is the port of Dar es Salaam. This is how one of the aviation. This is the power station and the Sierra. I think it is in the document. With these few remarks, thank you very much, Asante San.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Maseke, for the Mabiki for the information on the transport sector directions, as you have explained. The folder you have has the paper in there and explains more about what he has been saying. But we will now allow, if anybody would wish to have an issue clarified, or would wish to have more information on what the Director of Policy and Planning has explained about the directives, the way the transport sector is moving. We have a few minutes that we can use to discuss this presentation. So if anybody has any question or on this presentation and would wish to be clarified, can I please see your hands? You raise your hand above your head, please, so that I can see it. Yeah, I'm seeing one here. Yes, any other one? I'm seeing Jonas' hand. Yes, another hand that side. Yeah, I think we start with Jonas, please. Please, come on. You introduce yourself, mention the institution you are from, then raise up your issue. Thank you.
So thank you very much for a very good presentation. And you are very much welcome, the new DPP, because I think this is your first sector review meeting with us. So first of all, I really appreciate the fact that you are intending to strengthen the coordination with donors going forward. We would like to hear more regarding on what kind of regularity and so on, because we have been talking about that for every year and it has not been sort of happening. On PPPs, I think it's very good. We would like our projects to help you to bring also private sector investment to this country. However, what we see as one of the missing connection is a lack of feasibility studies, and in some cases we see that investors are being asked to come and there isn't any adequate information because the analytical work has not been done. So this is, I would really wish that you prioritize doing all these analytical works before calling investors, because otherwise it becomes very, very difficult for you to explain what will be the role of private and what will be the role of public in any specific project. Secondly, I wanted to check, is an area we have been asking every year. On the road safety policy of 2009, there is a requirement for the government to create road safety institutions, and we don't see that any movement in that direction. So we still have a situation where our roads are still very dangerous, I would say. There is no proper procedure for licensing, accreditation of drivers, even vehicle examination, and so on. And the accountability is lacking there. This is the Ministry of Transport. So we see there is a lot of work which is happening, which is very good. The problem is there is a lack of integration between modes. We see a railway, for example, being built, but you know, passengers, they don't just end up in the railway. Whenever there's a railway station or terminal, there's also need to have a very good connectivity to other transport modes and other aspects. And we have a good example in Dodoma where, you know, all the modes have been thrown out within the neighborhood of the railway terminal. You see these up-country bus terminal being very far away, all the dala. So it ended up in a situation where our service to the public does not become as effective as one would like to see. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jonas, for those observations and views on best way to move. We'll get explanations later. Let me have the second. Yes, please, you can ask and we continue.
Thank you. My name is Latifa Sykes. I represent the Tanzania Air Operators Association. I'll be honest, this is my first time at this meeting, which I'm curious to know in terms of representation on the aviation side, who has been participating, as this is my first time here. But secondly, we're talking about developing and improving our transport sector. And speaking on behalf of the aviation industry, the challenges that we've had, the fundamental challenges that we've had, and here speaking to the policy reviews, there's a lot of recommendations that have been made that to some extent are also agreeable to authorities and so forth, but no movement is being done. You know, we'll talk about things that are actually happening now. If you talk about the lack of qualified engineers, you know, for our airlines. We talk about training for aviation professionals. All these things that have been highlighted many years, we're going on 10 years now, we're now actually seeing them impacting us now. So would the ministry please look at those issues seriously now to be able to move forward? I am aware, and it's a good example that we've had, and I was hoping that within the ministry to consider for aviation and maybe even other transport institutions, where what was done with the ports, there's a special committee that's been put in place that has they address and discuss key issues within the ports, and they have actually impressively been addressed. And I think that is one form or mechanism that I think we should avail to the other sectors to be able to really sit down and look, because we've documented everything. We have everything. We know what the challenges are. So that being a request in terms of when you're looking at your policy reviews, can we seriously sit down with the various different transport sectors to see how we can improve and develop the specific sector? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your observations and your suggestion on how the aviation sector should also be improved. I don't see any other hand. Oh, we have a hand that side. Yes, please, the last one. Karibu.
Thank you, moderator. I understand that in the growing cities...
Can you introduce yourself, please?
My name is Leon Gowi. I work with the LATRA Consumer Consultative Council. This is the council that looks after the consumers' affairs. Now, my question is, in major cities, one of the things that is encouraged is to use the vehicles that can carry a big number of vehicles. Now in Tanzania, I'm saying in major cities, the movement of people should be carried by the carrying units that are bigger. Yes, we need the bigger vehicles. Now in Tanzania, things are almost contrary, as we have a lot of motorcycles and tricycles that are really carrying people in our cities and the major highways. I don't see in the policy review what are the strategies can be used so that to encourage movement of the massive transit in cities, and the strategies to either minimize these small carrying units like motorcycles and tricycles in major cities. Thank you.
Thank you. That was very clear. Mr. Mabiki, you want to respond to this, or you want somebody to help in responding? Your boss, okay, Mr. Migire, these are thrown to you now to say something. Please, Karibu.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me take this opportunity to thank the participants for raising these very key issues. First of all, if I may start with Mr. Jonas, on coordination of development partners, it's very true that we need to strengthen the dialogue between the government and development partners and private sector. We need to dialogue on issues on transport, and I think going forward, we are going to improve and increase on the numbers of the meeting. That is my promise, and I'll stand on that. On the PPPs, I thank World Bank for readiness to support, and we've been looking for support on that area, and I'm glad that you have come forward, that you'll be ready, and I think we'll discuss this further so as to make a step on how we can make use of whatever is availed by the World Bank in terms of preparing grounds, or in terms of documentation, or the guidelines for involvement of the private sector. So I'll be ready to have further discussion on that, and I'm glad that World Bank is ready. On lack of feasibility studies, this is very true. Some of our projects have gone into implementation without having a proper feasibility study. So I think this is an area that we need to strengthen. And as ministry, we are ready to give our support. And maybe in the JTC meetings that we are going to have, and I've been pushing my people, this time around we should have not only 2 joint technical committees meeting, we should have more meetings so that we can iron out these differences and maybe get benefit of these forums. The other issue is on creating the road safety authorities, or rather authority. This has been a long-standing issue, and I think it was 5 or 6 years ago, we had discussion on this. Jonas is on the lack of integration between modes. The issue of intermodal facilities, this is very true, and we need to be more coordinated when we keep on improving the transport sector infrastructure, be it road, rail, on the ground. And I'm glad that you have raised this point. It's a point well taken, valid, and we should be ready to work on it. On the issue of aviation, Latifa First of all, I welcome you. You say that it's the first time that you are attending this meeting, and I should encourage you to keep on attending these meetings. On participation, yes, TAOA has been participating in these meetings. Maybe the issue is that we need to be more organized and make sure that we follow up and ensure that all the sectors are well represented when we organize our meetings. But your point is an eye-opener. We have taken note of it, and we'll keep on making sure that you participate. On policy reviews, yes, there are issues you mentioned, lack of engineers, lack of pilots. We know these issues. But as ministry, we have started working on this. For example, now, as we speak now, we are strengthening our National Institute of Transport, and I think there is going to be a presentation on this, and I don't want to allude on what is going to be presented later. So the details of what we are doing in terms of capacity building in the aviation sector, that is going to be presented in the forthcoming presentations. But we are strengthening, as I said, we are strengthening National Institute of Transport so as to make sure that we have, is going to produce engineers and pilots. On the mechanism, yes, I think we need to establish one. As you rightly said, on the maritime sector, we are doing fine. We had a lot of challenges, but due to the fact that we had a port improvement committee, most of the issues were addressed, and now it's moving fine. But I think we can replicate the same in the aviation sector. So as ministry, I'm saying I'm ready. Maybe I should cooperate with TAOA so as to make sure that we have a forum, we establish a forum where we can be able to discuss aviation issues. I think that is all that has been raised. And on this last one, on Leo, which has been a comment that was coming from Leo. Yes, large vehicles. That is our policy. In the urban areas, we discourage use of minibuses, and we want to have mass transit type or system of transportation, and that is our plea, and that is our objective. Strategies, yes, we are working with the private sector because this is an area where the private sector can be able to invest, but we in the public sector, as you have seen, we have the bus rapid transit that can be replicated and to the private sector. And I think the role of the government is mainly to put up the infrastructure. And that has been done. And I think moving forward, private sector should be able to organize itself to make sure that it takes advantage of the infrastructure that is there. Moderator, I think those are the issues that were raised, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to clarify on them. Thank you.
Thank you very much for for the responses to the issues raised. One thing which we will have to remember at the end of today's proceedings, we will have so-called key issues to be implemented or sort of put forward for implementation in the coming 1 year. So if you have anything specific you believe it is worth to be in that list, please make it, write it down on your notebook, give me that paper later, and we will be discussing about those at the last session. So if anybody has an issue which he believes or one believes that has to be in the so-called key issues to be further followed up before the next JTSR. Do that and make sure I get it. Thank you again, and I think we can move forward now. What I was not sure, Mr. Migire, is about the feasibility studies which have to be done for projects which are of a PPP or of fully funded by public sector. Are those feasibility studies, responsibility to do the feasibilities, is that the government or the private sector who want to inject money? They want to put money. Is it not them to do the feasibility to see if the projects are viable or not? Sorry.
I think it's the responsibility of both parties. The government has to do its own feasibility study, prepare the projects. And I think we have done an attempt to prepare the transport sector investment program, where we had a list of projects. Some of them had feasibility studies, some of them didn't have feasibility study. We can maybe identify those ones without feasibility study, and with cooperation with the development partners, I think we can agree on how we can move forward. What is needed is financing. Financing can come from the government or the development partners or even private sector. So we need to sit together as stakeholders and agree on the way forward.
Asante sana, thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are really caught up with the time, and thank you, Mr. Mabiki. You can now take leave, and we'll continue with other presentations. Again, I will emphasize that those guys who will be coming for presentations, please be very precise on issues which has affected your performance. First of all, tell us in brief, very quickly, how you have performed in this 1 year. What are the issues which have been obstacles or hindering the performance? What are the mitigation measures which have to be taken? So that those are the main areas we should be listening to you, and we focus in discussion about those. So I am now welcoming a representative from Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority. Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority will come and will introduce yourself before you start, but please, as I said, be specific on issues which had hindered your performance and how we should look at how to proceed. Karibu sana. Introduce yourself. 10 minutes.
10 minutes?
10 minutes maximum.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, huh? Good morning once again. I'm Maria Makala member. I'll be representing the Director General, Hamza Johari, who is caught up with other business, and I'm from Tanzania Civil Aviation Authority. And I'll be talking specifically to what as the authority has conducted during the year under review. The ministry spoke about generally on what aviation has been conducting, and I'll go specific to Tanzania Civil Aviation performance. We are mandated to conduct our business based on the Civil Aviation Act, Cap 80. So whatever we are doing it under the law, and our duty mainly is to keep the sky safe. So in keeping the sky safe, this is what we have been doing, conducting safety and security oversight to the aviation industry, and we have grouped our activities into 3. We do oversight in the air transport service, aeronautical, airport services, and air navigation services. Apart from conducting safety oversight to those 3 areas, we also provide air navigation services to 14 stations in the Tanzania, in the United Republic of Tanzania. And though there's stations where we provide air navigation service, and when I say air navigation service, I mean air traffic control service, communication navigation, and providing information and meteorological service, which we get the information from Met Authority. So those are the stations. Reporting from what we were supposed to do from the last meeting, the 14th meeting, we were asked to expedite the process of reviewing our rules and regulations, and I'm glad to report that during the year we managed to review our regulations, which are grouped into 4. We have flight safety standard regulations, we have aerodrome regulations, aviation security regulations, so as air navigation service regulation. In total, we have reviewed 32 sets of regulations, which are currently in the various process of promulgation. Okay, as I said, our main task is to conduct oversight. And in the oversight, we issue licenses and certificates to various stakeholders in the country. And during the year under review, we've managed to register new 8 aircraft. So by adding up to the register of aircraft which we have, so we have new aircraft which have been registered. But again, we have conducted audits to various various air transport operators in the country, approved maintenance organization. That's also our main task to do. So we have conducted a total of 56 oversights to approved maintenance organizations. But again, during the year, we have managed to conduct 52 security oversight to various regulated agents, like airports, ground handlers, and aerodromes, and aircraft operators. So in total, we have conducted 52 security oversight. And we normally conduct examinations to various players in the industry, like pilots, cabin crew, and engineers. And in total, during the year, we've managed to do, they've booked 731 exams, and they've all been conducted at the authority. We have issued 1445 licenses and certificates to those players which I've just mentioned, pilots, cabin crews, and engineers, so as air traffic controllers. Technology, please, someone to help me. Whatever I'm presenting, you can find it in your handouts. If you go to separator M, that's where civil aviation is. So this is just a summary. I'm done with that. Yeah. Okay. For the strategic targets that we have for the next coming 3 years, as I said, we are working towards making the sky safe. And in making the sky safe, we have planned to ensure that we reduce accidents level, we enhance effective competition in the industry, but again, we also to ensure that we review our legal and framework to ensure that they comply with the international standards. But again, on the side of capacity building, we intend to increase number of courses that we issue at our college, but again, develop new courses for the industry. On the budget side, we have put the first column. The first column indicates the budget for the year, which is under review, and the second column is the approved budget, which we are working on, and we also put the forwarded budgets that will be the next financial year budget. So the details, as I said, you can find them in your handouts. In strengthening capacity building, the authority, apart from oversight and provision of air navigation service, we also have a training institution, Civil Aviation Training Center, and they have the booth outside. You may wish to go and pass through and check. The intention of the CATC is to continue to offer aviation-related short courses to the industry. And during the year under review, we've managed to make a new 9 courses for the industry. We have conducted visibility study for the industry, for the CATC center. We intend to build a bigger institution to meet the demands of aviation experts, as Taoa mentioned. So we also intend to build a bigger institution, and we've conducted a feasibility study. We are currently looking for funds so as to have the institution up and running. We need like 78 billion Tanzanian shillings so as to have that institution in place. As I said, safety is our top priority, so we'll continue to ensure that aviation industry and the Tanzania sky is safe by conducting safe and security oversight. We have challenges just like any other institution, and the main one is the recovery from the COVID-19. We are recovering from it. We are badly hit, as aviation is one of the industries which was badly hit, but we are recovering from it, and we'll get up strong. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. On time. Thank you. Thank you. Well, you might have been surprised to see that we invited TCAA, who was right down on the last group of sessions. That was for a good reason, that we had a request from them that they start now, as the presenter would be having commitments which cannot make her stay until in the evening. So we'll continue now with other presentation of this session, just as per the list. The Road Fund Board. The Road Fund Board, please come over. Tell us about your performance in this 1 year, issues which have come up, and how you would wish to be mitigating them to improve your performance. Karibu, Road Fund Board. And then TANROADS will be preparing yourself for the next presentation, please. Karibu.
Good afternoon. I'm Golaf Stephen. I'm going to present financing of the road of road maintenance and what was achieved last year, last financial year. Just in brief, the Road Fund Board and the Road Fund were established through the Roads and Fields Act. Cap 220, and the main function of the board is to ensure sustainability of financing of the road maintenance, and also to distribute the collected funds to the implementing agencies, and also to monitor the utilization of the funds. And there are three main sources of funding: fuel levy, transit charges, and overloading charges. And the rates as indicated. But for the fuel levy, we have just indicated the rate, the toll that is disbursed directly to the roads fund account. It excludes the 100 shillings per liter, which is dedicated to district roads. As you can see, sorry, I thought. So as I was saying, the main sources of funding for the roads fund is three sources: fuel levy, transit charges, and overloading charges. And the current rate for No, I don't have them here. Okay, as I was saying, there are three main sources of funding: fuel levy, trans charges, and overloading charges. And at the moment, the current rate for the fuel levy is 363 per liter of petrol and diesel, but 100 shillings per liter is dedicated for district roads. The fuel levy is the main source of financing, and it contributes over 93% of the total roads fund revenue. Just for information, 90% of roads fund revenue is dedicated to finance road maintenance, and 20% for road development. And the allocation, 70% is allocated for national roads and 30% to district roads. And the allocation depends on a number of criteria, including traffic and road class. Some of the issues that were raised in the last JTCR, the 14th JTCR meeting, the board was required to explore means to sustain financing of road maintenance. And during the last financial year, the board and the Minister of Works, as was presented earlier, presented the proposal to the Minister of Finance. And out of this proposal, the rate of fuel levy was revised from 263 to 363. But as I said earlier, the 100 is for financing district roads. To address because the main challenge that the board is facing is financing deficit, because at the moment, the fund capacity is to finance only about 40% of a requirement, road maintenance requirement from the agencies. So this is the big challenge, and the government, the board has been pursuing different strategies, including promotion of use of low-cost technologies, and also in collaboration with the road agencies, the board reviewed some manuals in order to improve revenue collection from road reserve user charges. And in terms of numbers, the budget for last financial year, it decreased slightly by 0.9%. But when we compare collection versus budget, the performance was impressive because the collection was 113% compared to the budget. And even the disbursement, what was disbursed was higher than what was budgeted, because as I said, the collection was above the budget. But as I said earlier, the challenge is the financing capacity. As you can see, the fund capacity is only 40% of the requirement. I've already said this one, and yeah. And also, when we compare road fund revenue versus total road user charge, it has been declining because there is a SADC transport protocol that require member states to disburse. All road user charges must be used to finance road maintenance. But at the moment, about 87% of road user charges is used to finance road maintenance, which means there are some road user charges that are not disbursed to the road fund account. And the dependence on fuel levy, it has been declining slightly. And as you can see, Last financial year, it was about 93% of total road fund revenue. So there is a slight improvement in terms of diversification of road fund sources of revenue. This just to give a highlight of the importance of timely and adequate financing of road maintenance. Yeah, and as you can see, I mean, when maintenance is delayed, it becomes more costly because from preservation to reconstruction, which is costly. I wouldn't go into details, but just to say that if maintenance is delayed by for 3 years, then maintenance costs increase by six times, and if it's neglected for 5 years, then maintenance costs increase by almost 18 times. So it is important to timely and adequately finance road maintenance. This just to emphasize the need to adequately finance road maintenance, because for every $1 that is not spent on maintenance, road users spend almost $3 because of high transport costs in terms of fuel, maintenance, and so forth. And also, the roads are the most costly, expensive road, public asset. So if not maintained, it means the government loses the initial investment that was put into in construction of the roads, and also loss of competitiveness. So to conclude, there's a huge maintenance gap at the moment, and backlog is huge. Especially, there are some road sections that they require now periodic maintenance, PM, and also major rehabilitation or reconstruction altogether. And these are the interventions that are costly, and they are kind of beyond our capacity of the fund to finance because they are costly. And capacity of the road users to finance the maintenance through fuel levy is overstretched. We are aware, we know the challenge of the fuel prices going up, so it is unlikely that the rates will be revised upwards to finance the increasing needs of maintenance. So it's kind of just to find out how do we address this intervention, how do we finance these interventions like roads that require major rehabilitation or periodic maintenance. So the idea is to have like kind of Marshall Plan to try to upgrade roads that have deteriorated to poor condition. And once they are in good condition, then now the fund will be able to sustainably finance through the revenue that is collecting from the current sources. So maybe it is high time now for development partners to consider venturing into also supporting the government or the roads fund board to finance to finance especially the major interventions in the network that cannot be financed by the road fund. And also maybe the government to consider allocating some funds every year to try and upgrade, rehabilitate roads that they are kind of, they have come to the last of, because roads have lifespan. So for those who have roads that have reached its life, the lifespan has come to the end. They require reconstruction, and the road fund is not able to finance. So, and we consider GTCR as an important opportunity to jointly discuss this challenge and find a lasting solution. Thank you.
Please. 10 minutes. No, you can take a seat, then we will come over when we do some discussion.
Good afternoon. My name is Arnold Masaki. I'm working with TANROS as the manager of planning. I'm here to make a presentation on the performance review in the last 3 years. The presentation was to be made by the Chief Executive, but due to a prior engagement, he could not make it. I've got 21 slides in 10 minutes, so possibly I'll cut them into half. I'll be skipping some slides. Yeah, the presentation as far as the outline is concerned, we have an introduction, we have a review of key issues that we agreed upon in the last meeting, we have performance review, strategic targets, investment opportunities, conclusion, and the recommendations. Number 3, performance review, is covering just over half of what I'm going to present. Yes, there is the presentation. Next. This one. Okay. Yeah, the outline, introduction, review of key issues, performance review, strategic targets, investment opportunities, conclusion, and the recommendations. There is the introduction and the mandate that Tandos has to manage the national roads and to design, rehabilitate, and construct airports. Then there is the road network in Tanzania, or rather trunk and regional roads. We have a total of 36,362. As you can see there, the trunk roads are the trunk roads are measuring 12,216. And out of the 12,216, 9,254 are tarmacked. That is over 75%. And then you have regional roads, 24,146, out of which 2,259 are paved. So we have to do some more work here. Okay. Implementation status of what we agreed upon last time at the last JTCR meeting. Issues were that we should well, it was implementing the flagship projects in transport sector in accordance with their implementation contracts. Now, 2 projects have been identified in our National Development Plan. These are Kigongo Busisi Bridge and the New Cylinder Bridge. New Cylinder Bridge is completed and the Kigongo Busisi Bridge is at 80% as of this morning when I called Mwanza. Then Chapter 3, Performance Review. Here, what we are showing is the maintenance program, physical performance, all types of maintenance that have been done for our roads, routine maintenance, periodic maintenance. Bridges, and the overall performance. So what I would like you to do is simply concentrating on the last row. That out of 100 planned, we have 88% for the first year, 81% for the second year, and 88% for the third year. Then this is the financial performance. Out of 100, we have 76, 68, 76 in the last 3 years. Then this is June 2022. This has to do with the road condition as well. That simply take a total of 38 plus 52, you get 90%. 38 for good, and 52 for fair. So you have left out the poor. the poor. So you have good plus fair is equal to 90%. Then next, this is June 2020. This is more recent. So the performance is better, that we have 90 here. And in June 2020, we had 80%. Then this is the overload control performance, that in the last 3 years, the performance can be seen there that it is from 081 down to 3039. This is attributed to the fact that now transporters are becoming more and more aware of how to carry their cargo. Not only cargo freight, but the passenger freight as well. Next, this is road development physical performance, trunk roads. This is what was planned against what has been achieved. Take a look at the last row. Some changes. Then, I'll go and mention what we have achieved in as far as bridges are concerned, that in the last 3 years, we have been able to complete the following main bridges: Tanzanite Bridge, Ruhuhu Bridge, Magara Bridge in the Manyara region. Kigongo Busisi is at 58, as I said earlier. And then we have Wami and the Kitengule Bridge in the Kagera region, which are almost completed, over 95%. These are the bridges that I was mentioning here. Then these are road sections that have been completed. Kidawe, Kasulu, Nyakanazi, Kibondo, and the rest. What I want you to do is taking a look at the financiers on the right. You can see GOT, AFDB, IDA, the World Bank. So you can see that the government is really trying to invest in roads. Previously, I think it was more of DPs, but now the GOT is putting some more funds in constructing and rehabilitating our roads. As you can see, GOT there, the FDB. These are various road sections in the country. And then we have airports. Airport projects that have been completed. Geita Regional Airport, Phase 1, construction of airside pavement has been completed. Rehabilitation of Mtwara Airport has been completed. Rehabilitation of Songea Airport and extension of Dodoma Airport runway as well. Ongoing airport projects, we have Msalato International Airport Phase 1, Msalato International Airport Phase, Lot 1, buildings Lot 2, infrastructure. Then we have new terminal building at Songa Airport, Soma Airport, and the rehabilitation of Iringa Airport, airside pavement. Targets. These are simply targets that have been drawn from our strategic plan, which is, I can say, running in parallel with the National Development Plan. So those are kilometers of roads that are to be paved by the year 2026. Trunk and the regional roads as well. Bridges, flyovers in our cities, 3 flyovers, the interchanges constructed by June 2026. 32 airports upgraded and rehabilitated by June 2026. So this is the Tanrosi strategic plan. Physical plan. Well, this is the physical plan in the next 3 years, that we are aiming at upgrading a total of 994.72 kilometers of trunk roads. Rehabilitation of 41 kilometers of bitumen standard for trunk roads. And the rest, that is the financial plan. Priority projects, possibly I should spend some more time explaining on this. as it was said in the morning by the Honorable Minister, that we are looking forward to implementing some of the projects using the EPC plus F modality, whereby a contractor will do the engineering, procurement, construction, plus the F, financing, meaning that he will have this role of connecting the government to a probable financier. And by doing this, we are in a way increasing the pool of financiers. As of now, it has been more of the GOT and some DPs, but it is our aim that we should increase the pool of financiers by using this modality. Those are all the sections that will be implemented using the EPC plus F. The first being Kibaha, Chalinze, Morogoro, 205 kilometers. Possibly the number of kilometers might change after a more detailed design. Investment opportunities. The road subsector, we have a number of feasibility studies and designs that have been completed, and it is an opportunity for the private party or sector to be involved. That all that goes with having a consultant or a contractor on site can benefit the private sector. In airports, we are going to upgrade and rehabilitate 7 airports whose feasibility studies and detailed designs are completed. Moshi Airport, Lindi, Kilwa Masoko rather, Njombe, Simiyu, Singida, and the Mwanza Terminal building, which is currently under construction. Conclusion and recommendations. I should read from here. That the TANROADS will continue to work with the Ministry of Works and Transport to address challenges affecting its performance, which are mostly insufficient funds for development and maintenance of the road and the airport infrastructure, actual road control, and the road reserve management as well. TANROADS will continue consulting development partners in a view of shortening lengthy procurement procedures. The government and development partners should put in deliberate efforts to fund backlog maintenance, while at the same time fund fully routine and periodic maintenance when due. And lastly, the need to involve the private sector in construction and the maintenance of road projects through public-private partnership, as it was said earlier here by the Honorable Minister and the AFDB representative. I have nothing more to say. This is the end of the presentation. I thank you.
Thank you. We'll have time to discuss these presentations. We'll have time later if you have any issues you would wish some clarification or observe from TANROADS and Road Fund Board. Keep it on until when it comes to discussion time. Can we listen to Tarura now? Tarura, please, who is coming for that? Karibu. Is this now working? Imepona hii? Okay.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Engineer Edward Yamboka, Director of Infrastructure Planning. And I'm here to present a paper from Tarura on behalf of Chief Executive. And my presentation will be having the content as of introduction, key issues raised in the previous meeting, and performance of Tarura for the past 3 years till end of June, the year 2022. And also, I will take you through to the strategies and the targeted and budgeted for the past 3 years. And last but not least, will be the key issues, priority areas, and proposals. By introduction, TARURA now is 5 years old since its establishment. And it was established to take the responsibilities of road maintenance for district roads. And it was handed over to TARURA more than 104,000 kilometers, and out of them, more than 50% were unclassified. So when TARURA was in fully operational, we started with inventory and doing a road condition survey, and then we had the total of road network of 144,429.77 kilometers. Mr. Chairman, TARURA has got only 2 sources of fund. Those funds from government fund and the other ones from development partners. Now, let's see the key issues which were raised in the previous meeting. For us, TARURA, only 2 issues were raised. And the first one was on the sustainable and diverse sources of road maintenance. And the second one was on the flagship projects in transport sector with their implementation. In sustainable and diverse sources of road maintenance, the action which we took as TARURA is utilization of alternative sources of funds to those road maintenance projects. And how do we move to that action is only through receiving those funds from the government for the year 2021, the fund which were allocated and the consolidated funds, and those additional funds from the central government. And we used those funds for road maintenance works. Also, we established 5 years investment strategy that has been drawing the rational practices of resources allocations for each year for those 5 years. And also in the flagship projects in transport sector, the action which we took as TARURA is construction of roads and arch bridges by using locally available materials. We use stones and burnt bricks to construct roads and bridges. Also, when we started this usage of technology of using locally available materials, only 3 regions were using this technology, and those regions were Iringa, Singida, and Kigoma. And right now we have about 8 regions which implement roads and bridges by using locally available materials. And through this usage of the local available materials, we are saving more than 50% if we are using the conventional method, but only for those regions which have stones locally available. So we are saving more than 70%. Mr. Chairman, the table shows the road condition as of June 2022. If you compare this table with the one which I showed earlier in the first slides, you will see that there is a marginal increase in gravel roads and paved roads by 7% to paved and 6% to gravel roads. And there is a decrease of earth roads by 2%. The following slide shows the budget allocation, fund received, and expenditure until June 2022. In the financial year ended on June 2022, the total budget of TARURA was 1,022 billion. That was the budget. But the approved budget were only 924.52 million. So there is a deficit of the actual needs which we intended to receive. So there is an equivalence of 90% of the 90% of the budget. And the expenditure made in the end of the year 2021 was 650 million, which is equivalent to 70% of the total budget received. So these histograms here, they are trying to indicate the received fund or received budget against spent of the allocated funds. So this one shows the road fund, and this one funds from the central government, and this one from the Tarura, and this one from the World Bank. So they will show, the blue one shows the received fund, and the orange one indicates the percentage spent from the received budget. That's why you'll see that there is 88% maybe for this government city project, but there is 100% of the utilization of the received fund. Mr. Chairman, the following slide also shows the physical and against financial performance for all those projects. And we have a maintenance project. We have maintenance projects, we have development projects, we have constituents, we have fuel levy, government city, Ahadiza Raisi, project from EU, DMDP, and RISE. Also, these histograms shows physical against percent of financial. So this one also will give you the picture of what we've executed against the fund which we've been using. The following slides also indicate the budget allocation per type of maintenance, because in maintenance we have 4 interventions. We have routine, spot, periodic maintenance, and the structures. And for the year 2019-20 to 2021-22, there is the indications of usage in this type or this kind of maintenance. For example, this is routine maintenance, and the blue one is for the year 2019-20, and the orange one is 2021, gray one is 21-22. So for routine, in the year 2019-20, we only the allocation we are 17%, but in the year 2021 was 19%, and in the year 2021, the allocation for routine were 22%. So this histogram shows the budget allocation per type of maintenance which have been executed by Tarura in the country. Also, Mr. Chairman, we have a road condition target in the past 3 years, from 2019-20 to 21-22. This histogram shows the conditions of the roads which are good and fair, which we are obliged to execute them. So for the year 2019-20, those roads which were in good condition were 24%, and the fair one were 36%. But the actual implementation in the year 2019-20 is only 15%, 15% against 35% of the actual implementation. These histograms, they shows the target, and this one shows the actual implementation for those for the past 3 years. So even this histogram will show you during the past 3 years what we planned and against what we executed. You will see the direction of Tarura, where we are heading. Mr. Chairman, also the following table shows the maintenance budget against allocations. From this table, you will see that the huge problem which we have in Tarura is fund allocation. For example, if we take the year 2019-20, the maintenance need and constraint budget, the actual needs which we had, we were supposed to be given 864 1.09 billion, but approved budget which we received is only 188. Yes. So this is only 21.8% of the really or actual needs which we were supposed to be given so that we can meet our needs. So this slide also will tell you that we have a huge challenge in budget allocation. But the following slide shows the budget projection for the year from 2022-23 to 2024-25. These are budget from the road fund, and we have a central government, own source, EU, World Bank. So this one is the projection. So right now we are in the year 2022-23, but we're projecting to 24-25 to be having the needs which will total to 277.26 billion. Also, the following slides shows the 3 years key physical target. Tarura forecasts that in the coming 3 years, the road maintenance will be as follows. So this also shows the projection of what we are targeting physically to implement in the total, in that total of 144,000 kilometers. That for the year 2022 will maintain 24,422 kilometers. And 2023, 2024, 26,865. And at 2024-25, we're expecting to execute 29,551.98. So this is just a projection for physical target. Also, if I can just go through my presentation here. And we have an investment opportunity to solicit more funds. Tarura is in the view that the PPP, in the manner of public-private partnership arrangement, might help to secure more funds to meet the deficit in financing of road projects. So Tarura is seeking to deploy the alternative financing capital as shown, unfortunately, yes. This is what we're expecting to go through so that we can solicit more fund or capital for road maintenance. We're expecting to have some inputs which will process them so that we can get output and outcome for the betterment of our roads. Mr. Chairman, we have key issues. We as Tarura, and we have almost 4. But the first one is just unstable road network. As you saw the table which I displayed, to the total of 144 kilometers, 100 kilometers, only 1.82% is tarmac road. So this indicates that the rest of the roads, they are just gravel and earth roads, of which during the rain season, most of them they are unpassable, or you cannot access those roads. So unstable road network is the first key issue which we have. Also, there is a deficit of budget, as I've shown some slides which shows the unconstrained budget against budget approved. Also, there is another constraint of actual need against what is going to be disbursed in the financial year. And lastly but not least, funding and technical support from development partners are to be increased to meet road development in other sectors. Currently, agricultural belt of Iringa and the Bay region have enjoyed the funding. And also some of the rural areas will be worked under World Bank financing projects of RISE. And those from urban areas will be enjoying the financing of tactic projects. We have priorities And the first priority we have in Tarura is to continue to maintain those good and fair roads. That is our first priority. And the second one is to continue to develop roads in rural and urban areas. And the third one is trying to engage new technology and researchers so that they can develop available materials and alternative materials which will perform better or will make us to have a cost-effective manner in our roads projects. And right now we have about 10 projects which we are expecting to execute them by using new technologies. So when these projects are completed, then we realize what we've been saving, and then we see the way to go through to those new technology and the other alternative material. Also, we have a focus. A focus is given and our door are open to all stakeholders in alternative financing. As you can see that we have a road network of about more than 144,000 kilometers. Our recommendation, despite all those challenges which I've been elaborating here, but we have some recommendations to be followed. As the one is to develop development partners consider providing more support to Tarura in the development budget. As you can see that the budget which we have for maintenance works, they are not enough. So we are recommending for development partners to consider providing more support to Tarura. Also, we are recommending local government authorities to set aside some of the funds to be financed by those local government authorities. Also, we have a recommendation of to the sectorial support in the conducting of more studies of financing arrangement to meet the huge road maintenance deficit. And last but not least, stakeholders, general public and other government organs to keep on sensitizing on protection of roads infrastructure, including the campaign against vandalism, polluting drainage channels, and other things which might harm our road infrastructures. By that, I thank you, Mr. Chairman. And that is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
Look a bit longer than what you had been given. Now we will listen to DAT, Dar es Salaam Rapid Transit. As I said, we'll have some time to discuss these presentations. So just keep whatever you would wish to ask a particular institution. Keep it close with you. When we start the discussions, we'll get you to ask. And I remind you that all those who have issues which they believe must come up later in the key issues to be pursued, write them down on the paper and give them to me. Karibu, that.
Thank you very much. My name is Moston Mokioma. I will be presenting on behalf of the Chief Executive of DAT, who is not here with us today. So I'll be trying to be very brief and short. My presentation is starting with the introduction. As you can see, that agency is a government institution which was established under that Executive Agency Act in 1977. And the mandate of that agency is to establish, implement and manage the bus rapid transit system in Dar es Salaam City, branded as DAT Rapid Transit DAT system. The second mandate was to ensure an orderly flow of traffic in the city of Dar es Salaam. And the third mandate was to ensure effective management of the agency. Now the introduction continue. As you can see, the mode for the transport system. We have mode sharing and non-motorized mode kind of transport. You can see that diagram painted with colors. The yellow one shows the cannot see more. Yes, the bus. 47.9 is the bus, and the white one, 39.0, is the working. But the diagram themselves, you can see, and the presentation, the details in the document you have given. But you also have exclude non-motorized trip, where you can see 79.2% is the mostly dominated mode of kind of transport. We can see the arrangement of the operation, the system itself. We have the infrastructure, which is under public, where we are saying that we have the BRT corridor with the terminal and the stations and the depots, and also we have pedestrian bridge and the working area, and then you have the fare correction system, whereby we have the fare system, and then we have the turnstile and the ticketing mode, and we have the smart card. We have paper ticket in our stations. Then currently we have also mobile top-ups, which you have. Then we have also established for facilitating transport. I mean, user who use our system. Then you have bus, kind of buses, type of buses. You have articulated buses, which is 12-meter length, and the feeder buses. Then you have bus operation and the clean technology. Currently we use Euro 3 diesel engine. Then we have this kind of system, ITS system. Also we have the system of collecting revenue from the from the system. We have this trunk and feeder. As we can see, the fare to adult, student, we have different category of fare depending on the station, from the city center to Kimara and to the other feeder routes. Then we have, as per the last financial year, we have the financial performance consecutive for three years. You can see from 2019 to 2021 and 21 to 23. You can see some progress. We have managed to arrive to a budget of a correction of 9.69 as per 2021 financial year. So you can see the improvement from what we are doing. Also, we have infrastructure financing. You can see our routes with all phases. We have 6 phases, and we can see also our financiers who finance those routes, those projects, and those 6 phases: phase 1 to phase 5. On phase 6, which we still don't have a financer, but other phases you have the financer, and the construction or preparation for construction is in different stages. And a total of kilometer for those 6 routes upon completion, then it will be 154 4.5. Then you can see the performance review, physical performance, and the bus operation and project phase 1 for the year, for the month ending June last year, which is 184,909. Then we have also other projects which we call transit-oriented development, which we are expecting to have that kind of project at Gerezani, where we have already the land, and where we encourage the private partner to construct that project under PPP arrangements. That is our future plan. Then we have strategic target, which the agency has intend to implement for the coming financial year, and with focusing to 2026, when this project and those phases can be completed. Then also these are our strategic plan, which continue as that is in our strategic strategic target plans. Then you have challenges on the project. You know, project is being done in the slum, where land is a big challenge, and that mobilizing the fund for compensation it needs is another challenge. Though it might be not on time, but it's a challenge. We don't get instantly for the compensation, so that the land can be acquired for the implementation of the project. Then we have the mitigating measures, you can see, but generally aims at making sure that we solve those problems, and we establish construct the project. Then in conclusion, is for the government of Tanzania to appreciate to our development partners, especially who finance our project. As you can see, the World Bank and the African Development Bank and some others financer was been engaging in making sure that this project, bus rapid transit project, being constructed in those phases which we have already started, but those which we have not started, then we hope to get financer, encourage more financer to involve in those projects. Then we have recommendation, is you can see there first that will continue to collaborate with those ministry and the other agents, and also in evaluation and monitoring in our project, and to ensure that services are provided in a sustainable manner. Then in order to ensure the value for money, the agency will continue to monitor and supervise the ongoing implementation of that infrastructure, so as to ensure that all of those 6 phases of that system are implemented to cater the travel demand in the expanding city is originally perceived. Then continue with giving high priority to the non-motorized transport users by putting in place the infrastructure component for all road-related mode to ensure the welfare of all commuters in the city. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for giving us the information on what will be the progress and what are the anticipated completion of the phases. Let's hear now from TRC, Tanzania Railways Corporation.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Director General TRC, Nzeimana Diegula, I'm the Director of Planning and Investment. I represent Mr. Masanja Kadogosa, who has another responsibilities, which is equivalent important for today. My presentation has gone straight to the key issues raised, but I can talk briefly on the establishment of TRC. We are all aware that TRC is a formation of two companies which were merged, that is Rail Asset Holding Company and Tanzania Railway Limited in 2017. So under the Railway Act number 10 of 2017. The responsibility of TRC, we only have two major responsibilities. One, construction and rehabilitation of railway infrastructure, but second, transportation of passengers and cargo. In the previous JTSR, we had two issues, major two issues. The first issue was to expedite review of existing legislation. As the minister was saying this morning about fast-tracking the review of the regulation, we have done the review, and LATRA organized a stakeholders meeting. So we finalized the review of the Railway Act, and we are expecting, it was expected November this year to be passed through the Parliament, but I think early next year will be on in the end of the year. I'm sure it's going to be next year because this was the last parliamentary session. So early next year is going to be tabled in the Parliament, and the issue of open access was one of the key issues that made this act to be reviewed. The second issue was the funding, and in particular for the remaining sections. We have a number of financiers who have shown interest in the completion of the standard gauge railways, in particular in the sections that are coming from Makutupora to Tabora, Tabora to Isaka, and Isaka to Mwanza. Standard Chartered has shown interest and now are discussing financial terms with the Ministry of Finance. African Development Bank has shown interest to finance the Uvinza to Burundi railway line, which will connect all the way to DRC. Exim Bank Korea have shown interest to supporting the procurement of the rolling stock, but for World Bank is for meter gauge railway rehabilitations. Performance of TRC indicators. We have not performed very well, but we are making progress. And this is because of number of projects that are ongoing, but as well, we are now revamping our cooperation, including making more or improving our services to be more efficient and effective. For this financial year, as you can all see, we have improved in terms of transportation of cargo, of course, because of the project that we are doing under the financing of World Bank. We have managed to reach 416 tons compared to previous year, which was 322. So yeah, there is an improvement. And thank you to World Bank because we received 44 wagons and 3 engines, which it has played a big role in terms of improving the transportation of cargo. For the passengers, Yeah, there is a small improvement when you look at the long distance passengers. We transported 3 million last previous year, but for the 21-22, we transported 3.1. And for the passenger, the commuter passenger, we transported 3 million, and previous year 3.1 million. And if you look on other indicators, you can see there is a slight improvement compared to the previous financial year, that was 2020-2021. So you can go briefly and look at the different indicators, and yes, we are targeting to improve more on the different indicators. You can see when you look at the, for instance, wagon turnaround, 2020-2021, we were on 18. Our target is to be 15, but now we have come to 17 number of days. We are expecting probably in the coming few years to go back to 15 so that we can improve our transportation services. Availability of wagons, availability of locomotive. We have had a number of challenges in terms of locomotives. More locomotive needed spares from abroad. We had a number of challenges when it comes to importation and procurement of the spare parts from abroad. That's why you can see it wasn't very much improved, but we are making sure that in the next coming years, we are going to improve wagon and locomotive availability. So these were trying to explain why we performed better in the previous year. And this is because of the project that we are doing in the rehabilitation of the Dar es Salaam to Tabora under the World Bank financing. But as well, we did the revamping of Tanga Arusha MGR. We acquired, as I said, 3 locomotives and 44 wagons, but we remanufactured 7 shunting locomotives and 240 wagons. TRC, okay, these ones I've already explained. I can go fast because of the time. Looking on the implementation status of the projects, we are aware about the construction of the first phase that's coming from Dar es Salaam to Mwanza, which is 1,219 kilometers. And this project is implemented in lots. When you can see lot 1, we have already, in the year of the review, that means up to June 2022, we were on the 97%. For the lot 2, that coming from Morogoro, Makutupola, we were 87, but now we are in the 90%. For lot 3, we are in the, this is the lot 5 from Isaka to Mwanza, 8%, but now we are in the 16%. From Makutupora to Tabora and Tabora to Isaka, these were in the mobilization stage, where looking at the Makutupora Tabora, we already reached 8%, but for the Tabora Isaka, we are still doing mobilization. For the SGR construction from Tabora to Kigoma, we're in the final stage of procurement. We expect end of this year to sign a contract with a contractor who is a selected bidder. But we have started procurement of Uvinza, Msongati, Gitega. This line will connect all the way to DRC Congo. So we are preparing the procurement. We have started procurement under the assistance of African Development Bank, who are the potential financier for this project. Strategic targets, one is to finalize construction of the railway line from Dar es Salaam to Morogoro, but as well we are expecting to start the operation of the railway line that comes from Dar es Salaam, Morogoro. It is expected by early next year we will receive the wagons and locomotives so that we can start the coaches, so that we can start the operation of this line. But as well, we are determined to finalize the construction of the Morogoro Makutupora. This will connect us from Dar es Salaam to Dodoma. I think recently you have seen the Member of Parliament has transported all the way from Dodoma to Dar es Salaam. So when it comes to track, we have completed the work. but we are now finalizing the other infrastructures like signaling, electrification of the Makutupora, Morogoro to Makutupora. As well, we are going to start the construction from Tabora to Kigoma, and we are going to finalize the procurement for Vinza Musongat. But in terms of securing finance, we are now under discussion with a number of financiers, as I said earlier, for the remaining lots that we have engaged a contractor. For strategic targets, our major strategic targets, one is to strengthen Dar es Salaam to Tabora infrastructure to make sure that it is safe for operations, but second, rehabilitation of Tabora to Isaka. This is for the meter gauge railway line. We are determined to improve our internal terminal of Wilala and Isaka so that we can facilitate the transportation or the business between Tanzania and neighboring countries. This terminal, in particular the Isaka terminal, is very important when it comes to regional business of TRC staff trained in different areas of operations. When it comes to rehabilitation and maintenance, TRC will enhance maintenance of MGR in order to provide a reliable and safe and affordable railway transport service. More emphasis will be put in the sections that are not rehabilitated yet. We are planning to engage contractors to assist us in the rehabilitation, and this will make more private sector participating in the rehabilitation of the lines that for the old railway line. For the rolling stock, these are the number of rolling stock that we have started procurement process. We have already signed the contract to procure all these rolling stock, and we expect in the next 3 years, most of the rolling stock will arrive within next year and 3 years to come. So these are the major concentration that the TRC is concentrating in terms of making sure we have all the infrastructure, but as well as having the rolling stock in place to make sure that we transport goods as well as the passengers as our mandate, as our core mandate. For the investment opportunities, yes, we still have, we're still in the discussion stage. So we believe for development partners, they can join hands through the Ministry of Finance to secure financing of these different lots, which we do not have financiers yet. For Makutupora Tabora, Tabora Isaka, these are through borrowing, through Ministry of Finance, but Tabora Uvinza Msongati as well is through borrowing, and Uvinza Msongati Gitega. But for Mtwara, Songea Mbamba Bay, Tanga Arusha Musoma, and Dar es Salaam commuter, we are still implementing under the PPP Act. So we have feasibility studies in place for all the sections, and we have preliminary designs. So we are now looking for transaction advisor who can support us in implementation of the PPP projects, in particular the Mtwara, Tanga line, and the Dar es Salaam commuter lines. Dodoma, we are about to finish the feasibility studies as well as preliminary designs, and it's one of the projects as well will be involved in PPP mode of procurement. So we are inviting development partners if they can support us in engagement of the transaction advisors or finding us the potential PPP partner to make sure that we implement this project. In particular, the Dar es Salaam commuter railway line, which we are facing so much difficult when it comes to engage financial banks, because as you're all aware that this project is mostly going to transport passengers. So when it comes to financial viability, we are facing a challenge to find the right partner when it comes to PPP implementation of the project. Okay, in conclusion, yeah, I've talked about TILP. Investment on the railway sector is inevitable because it is the means of transport which is cheaper and safe, commuting both citizens and traders. To underscore the importance of the railway transport, the government has established railway development corridors, which for different players to join hands. The corridors are southern, northern, and central corridor. Thank you so much for your time.
Ambitious SDR program, yeah? Yeah, hopefully we shall make it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a dilemma actually. It's already 2 o'clock and we are not halfway. Of course, the following presentation will be from Tazara, Tanzania-Zambia Railway. I would really argue all those who are coming now to be very short presentation, focus on performance done, especially when it's positive, when go back to issues, challenges faced, and what are the mitigation measures being proposed. Karibu.
Good afternoon, everybody. Shake a little bit, otherwise you're going to be sleeping here. Okay, I'm representing the Managing Director of Tanzania-Zambia Railways, Mr. Bruno Tandeo Chingandu, which is me. You've heard that we don't have time, and I know that I'm probably in between lunch and sleep. So I will proceed. In my presentation, where is this thing for working? All right. In my presentation, I'm not going to talk about the background. Everybody knows about the background of Tazara. If you don't know, go to the file which is there in my folder, or speak to me during lunch. So I'll go straight, you stay here, start changing. I'll go straight to the review of last year's requirement, which was the issue of only one issue was remaining there, and the issue was that of the review of the progress of the Tazara Act. This has already been spoken about by the Director of Planning in the Ministry of Transport. So his report was current and it is actually accurate. So this is going to be reviewed sometime in November, December, and then it's going to be taken to Parliament. Next. You need to look at this report a little. I'll spend a little bit of time on this. There are 3 things that you should notice from here. One, that there has been an annual improvement in the performance of Tazara at 20% growth per year. Secondly, you will notice that from 2017-2018, we have had an encroacher. In other words, we allowed from 2017-2018 an access operator. What does that do? The capacity of Tazara is around about, the line capacity of Tazara is around about 2 million tons now. Between us and the access operator, we are only moving 500,000 tons, which means 1.5 million is sitting idle doing nothing. Does it make sense? If you don't have capacity to operate, like the minister said, get PPP, get private people to come in and operate. So we allowed an operator to come in, and now we are moving around about 500,000 tons. The third thing you should notice is that there is a big dip in 2021, 2022. This is because we had an accident at Chambeshi, which made us not to operate. And the first thing is, of course, that we are not able to meet the break-even point, even with this good performance. Even with this good performance, we're not able to meet the break-even point because of the challenges. Next, please. Next. Next. Yep. So what are the challenges which are making us fail to meet the break-even point? In our view, it's only one: insufficient working capital and investment funds. Because of not having this, we have inadequate number of locomotives, and those that are available, they are unreliable. The track is in poor condition, meaning that now we have more temporary speed restrictions, thus restricting the movement of traffic. We have an obsolete signaling system. We don't have the investment funds to put in a new signaling system. And we are hugely indebted on legal things like NAPSA, like NSSF, etc. So what are the mitigations? Even with this, we decided that we must lease locomotives, so we are going ahead to lease some locomotives and some wagons. We've allowed, like I said, open access with private operators. We are also going into smart partnerships. We are discussing with some of our customers for them to fund the repair of our rolling stock. And then we work out what the rate is going to be for them, for us to pay back. And then we've got a lot of idle assets like land and the warehouses, which we are leasing out, again to try and help improve on the cash flows. And then, of course, we've been we are very grateful that the government has also assisted us in giving us some funds for the working capital. Next, please. Next. I want you to go straight to recommendations. Our considered opinion is that as railways, the governments, the shareholders, will have to decide whether we railways become operators or we continue being vertically integrated, maintaining the track, getting resources for the track, and then operating. Our considered opinion is that the investment onto the track should be left to the governments, should be left to the shareholders, and us, we should be allowed to just continue to operate. And no, continue. Back, please. In terms of the recommendations, the Council of Ministers, we are looking forward to them, as we spoke about that, for the revitalization, for them to approve the revitalization plan. We are also looking for the support for the bankable business plan to be made here. We are working with the World Bank. Phase 1 of the World Bank has been done. Now we need to do the phase 2 so that we can come up with a bankable business plan. We are continually looking for support from development partners for this. Next, please. In conclusion, the performance of Tazara generally improved over this period under review. The potential for Tazara is very high. The demand, we can't meet the demand at all. Our capacity is too low. The shareholders and development partners are needed for us to play our rightful role as a railway. Otherwise, we will be and will continue underperforming. Involvement of the private sector, we should not be afraid to involve the private sector. The private sector should be our partners for us to go forward, because the governments have got many other things to look at other than just railways. Next. Asante sana kwa kunisikia.
I had of the recent tour of our president to China will be said, and the commitment done by China to revamp the Tazara, but that was not said, yeah? Maybe it's still in brackets, yeah? It's still... Oh, thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, could you please now advise me how we should proceed? We proceed with discussions and about this presentation we have heard as of now, or we chip in another presentation to save time and then we do discussions on many more. But I think because these were mostly for the rail, for the roads and rail subsector, we discuss on these. And then after this, we go for one board and others. If anybody has anything you would wish would wish it to be clarified, or has a question to be, I see a hand here. Brian has a hand. Who else? Put up your hand above your head, please. Let me put on, yes, Nana, I've seen you. No one this side. Okay. Yes, you will be the third one. Sure, Rain, you can start, please. You have to move to the mic next to you. Sorry. Is that not still working?
Thank you. The mics are working.
Yes.
Thank you very much for the presentations. My name is Tim Bushell. I work with the British High Commission and support of infrastructure. So I had two questions, one for TRC and one for Tazara. On TRC, it's impressive to see the progress on the SGR, and I wanted to ask what efforts are being made to generate cargo and customers, particularly last mile connections to enable freight use of the railway. And on Tazara, I was of the impression that some detailed design studies were actually going on for the rehabilitation, but maybe that could be confirmed or not. That would be helpful. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nana Sutantri. I work for the World Bank. I have two questions, and it is for 10 roads. There was a discussion that the government prepares, that the responsibility to prepare feasibility study rests with both the government as well as the private sector. My question is this: does the feasibility study includes preparation of environmental and social impact assessment? And these are something that is required by the development partners. And in addition to that, my next question is to do with acknowledging that there is a lack of institutional capacity within TANROADS and government in general. However, at the same time, I'd just like to highlight the fact that World Bank recently approved a project, the Tanzania Transport Integration Project, that also includes $20 million worth of capacity development for the government, specifically in transport sector, so that we can prepare a pipeline of professionals who can work in transport sector. And this is not limited to just engineers, it includes everyone who works in transport sector, procurement, environmentalist, accountant, HR person. So it is something that needs to be discussed more openly amongst government, and especially as TANROADS Day is basically the implementing agency, and MWTI will need to have more of a convening power to this. Thank you.
I think they have noted the question. They will be responding to it. Yes, please.
Thank you for allowing me to ask you the questions. Thank you, presenters, for good presentation. My name is Ali Mwinchanda. I'm working with the European Union delegation in Tanzania. My questions will go to Roads Fund Board and probably Tarura, but they are linked to each other. The first question to Road Fund Board is on the percentage of road funds to roads user charges, which is highlighted as only 87% against 100%. That is as agreed by the SADC protocol, if I heard it properly from the presenter. There is protocol signed probably on SADC that all that road fund has to be 100% of road fund has percentage of road fund to road user charges has to be 100%. So my question is, why this is not happening? Are we violating the SADC protocol which you have signed? The questions to Tarura is on two issues. One is on the absorption capacity. Reading from the presentation and the files we have, I can see the approved budget for the last financial year was 924 billion shillings. But Tarura managed to expend only 650 billion shillings. 50. So I understand also from the presentation that we are pushing for more funding, but then if the absorption capacity is less, probably there are issues that need to be addressed before we push on increasing the budget. But I haven't heard from the presenter, what are these issues? There are issues that were explained in the presentation, but nothing has come on capacity program. I don't know if it's something to do with the capacity, but he will explain. The second question for Tarura is on, probably this is also a policy issue that have been discussed every year, I think. It's on finding a balance between development and maintenance. Or deferring maintenance, but I see this is not reflected in budgetary allocation. So it's probably we are tending to favor more and more developments, and the maintenance is not having its right priority, probably I can put it. So thank you for clarification.
Thanks, Ali, for those observations. We will hear from them. I don't see any other hand, so we could get responses on these raised issues. Can question well, or you want it said in a different way? If you understood it, you can go ahead and respond.
Do you hear me? Yeah, I think he was talking about the connectivity of the